Hey guys, welcome back. It's another episode of the Florida Gambling Boys on YouTube. It is our Football Frenzy show. We're bringing you the best analysis of all the big games throughout the week in college and pro. Give you our breakdowns, our analysis, and our picks. And as always, I have to my left Midwest Tommy Tice. Tom, welcome back.
Hey, great to be here, guys.
To my right, the man they call Super Dave Kreitz. Davey, what's happening?
He does exist. I've come back like the Lions against the Houston Texans.
Oh,
it almost cost me
We'll
5
get to
TVs,
that.
man.
We'll get into that.
Well, we were speaking of picks, guys. Recap last week. How you made out, Tom?
I was 3 for 4 in college and 1 for 1 in the NFL. So
That's a 4 and 2 week overall. That's making money.
I'll take it. Yeah, you're making money with me and my picks. Sean, I know you had to go. Dave, I know you had a fantastic
Dave,
week.
Not in the NFL. I got beat up in the NFL. I was 1 and 2.
Right.
Lions didn't cover that 3.5. I thought they were going to smoke the Texans, but they showed me a lot more than I needed to know. College, 6 and 1. What'd I tell you? Got my dog, got my lock. The only thing that didn't cover was
Your alma mater. Not your alma mater,
Not my
but your
alma
favorite
mater.
your favorite team in the world. And I told you all week, I said they would cover. That was a pride game
You
for
told
Michigan.
me all year that they're going to be a 2-loss team and this and that. I told you they're going to be a 5-loss team. So,
But they covered a huge game last week.
That's a great week for you, Dave. I'm glad to hear you.
don't bet
you
against
nailed
them.
it. I finished a great week. 4-0 in college on my picks. Nothing but greatness. That's all I do is piss excellence, folks. I give you winners. I hit my dog of the week, and all 3 of my plays were winners. So 4-0 in college and 2-1 in the NFL. My only loss was the Niners, thanks to Jake Moody missing 3 field goals.
Oh, wasn't that a fiasco?
Jeez. And I'll give the Bucs credit. They played a lot of heart these past 2 weeks. Niners, Chiefs, they were in both games, could have won both games, and now they sit 4 and 6. But there are local teams, so we got to support them. But
They're still in it.
here's the problem.
Don't count them out.
I'm not counting them out.
I'm not counting them out. If you look at the back end of their schedule,
if they were in the AFC, I'd give them more of a chance.
Sure.
If you look at the back end of Tampa's schedule, they can make a big run after this bye week. They really can. You look at that schedule; it's set up for them to win some football games.
But they never made a move at the deadline to improve the team.
Evans is coming back. Baker's still baking. Granted,
We'll see.
He's made Kate Otten into a very rich man. I'll tell you that much.
eventually, when
his contract's up in a couple of years. So, but we'll get to the NFL shortly. We're going to start with college football this week, guys. I don't know what you think about the card. There are a few ranked matchups, a few really intriguing matchups. In the past couple of weeks, I know personally I've looked at it and I've said, I can't stand the card, but I got to find something to bet. This week I like too much, and that's never a good thing. But we want to address a few games that are key matchups this week. And we'll start with the big one, which I think is the big one, because again...
Well, before we get into all that, let's just talk about what happened last week in the SEC. I mean, my goodness.
Ole Miss stayed alive.
Ole Miss not only did they stay alive, they made a statement game. That was a statement game, and Alabama was a statement game.
I agree.
So what you're saying is these two teams are still in it. They want to be in it. And let's face it, they're viable candidates once they get in the playoffs to be a championship football team.
Well, now you have 6 SEC teams that are alive.
Yeah.
Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Texas,
bias.
and A&M's lurking on the outside.
Yeah.
That SEC.
But I think
And that A&M Texas game Thanksgiving night
is huge.
Is just massive now at A&M.
It's huge. And, we got to get into, and we're going to talk about it, but Tennessee and Georgia this week is an elimination game.
Let's start with that game. Let's start with that game.
Okay.
Right now, we are very unsure of the status of Tennessee's quarterback. I call him Nico because I can never pronounce his last name. It took me 3 years to pronounce G.J. Uyunglele.
Yama Leab.
You had a pretty good read
That's
on
pretty
it.
good.
But
Nico Yama Leab.
right now the line sits at 10.5.
The Georgia
There's
at
been
home.
some movement on it. Yeah, it is in Athens.
Yeah.
Now,
This is a stay alive Georgia game.
it's got to be for a 3-loss Tennessee team does nobody any good.
And here's the thing. Carson Beck has got to play the best game of his career this week.
Awful lately.
And his last 3 games have been just he's been very average and below average at times. He played a horrible football game last week.
186 yards passing and 5 sacks last week.
He was
Yeah,
miserable.
Carson
But I'll say
Beck.
this: they cannot run the football. That's not a great offensive line.
It really isn't.
And I never thought that losing their big tight end and Lad McConkey
Would be this big of a
this
detriment.
big of a difference. You
Yeah,
know, with the
and
way
I know.
Georgia replenishes talent every year, I
But
really
I think what
thought
we're
it would
seeing,
make a
though,
difference.
I think
It
what we're
would make
seeing
this big a
is
difference.
with the NIL and really good draft classes is Georgia's not the only one that can replenish anymore. They can all replenish.
Well, especially with the portal.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When you can go out and get 6, 7, 8 guys that can make a difference on your football team, and you can do it in March.
Sure.
So we're not dealing with the same animal anymore.
Having said that, and Tom, since you're going, you got to lean either way in this game? Or is it a play for you?
You don't think I'm nuts, but I like Georgia. Cover that 10.5.
Okay.
I really do.
All right.
I think that's a 31-17 football game. I think Georgia comes out, and I think they come out and play the best game they've played all year because they have to.
All right.
And Kirby Smart's that guy that's going to get them to do that. But the whole success of this game, the whole key of this game, is Carson Beck not turning the football over.
Damn right.
So I'm going to put my bet, my 10.5 points is going on Carson Beck's shoulders.
Okay.
Okay.
Dave, what do you think?
That's a lot. That's a lot right there. We talked about Yamaleava. They benched him, but they were already up by 13 points against Mississippi State, the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah, they're awful.
Well,
They
they
are
didn't.
awful.
I'm sorry, they didn't bench him. He left due to injury.
Right.
They kept him out. They were
Right.
already up by 13 points. They didn't bench him. Since Josh Heupel's arrived, Georgia has allowed 17, 13, and 10 points with this high-powered Tennessee offense. But Carson Beck is a problem right now. He has regressed.
Oh, his draft
and
stock is
regressed.
I'm not sure
Fallen.
what happened to him.
His draft. Well, he just got no talent on offense.
I know he doesn't have the
No,
receivers
he
he's
lost.
had.
He lost all his top flight receivers, but managed the game. Georgia's also second worst in the SEC running the ball. Tennessee's pass rush is 15th in the pass rush rating according to Pro Football Focus.
Right.
Given all that, and that, as I said before, 186 yards and 5 sacks he took against Mississippi State, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say Tennessee's going to cover this, but it's going to be a sloppy game. Take that under.
Well, that would
What's
leave
the
me.
under on that?
The
51?
total right now is 48.5.
Was it
48?
48? I thought
I
it
was
was.
gonna
I
say.
saw 51 earlier in the week, so it's 48.5.
I saw.
I don't have a play in this game on
I don't
the
either.
side. I have a huge play on the total.
I don't have a play either, but if you ask me, I'm taking Georgia.
I have a huge play on the total. I think because of the inconsistency, and we don't even know if Nico's going to play.
He's questionable.
Yami Abele, is that it? Did I
Yeah.
get that close?
Yamaleava.
Okay. Well, then I was way off, but that's okay. I don't care.
I could be entirely incorrect.
Their offense is way inconsistent. And here's the thing. Georgia cannot run the ball. And what's the strength of Tennessee? Their front four.
Their front seven is
and
great.
front seven is great. And they stop the run. Well, guess what? If they have no threat of stopping the run, they're going to load up and stop the pass. So you're looking at Georgia. If they can't run the ball, it's going to be in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 in every possession. Down and distance. I think this screams under. I think it screams under, and it's.
I like the under, but I still like Georgia's defense to show up and play Georgia defensive football.
To that, I will say, the line has shown trends of moving up, and that means the public's going to steamroll Georgia.
Right.
So if you like Georgia, you got to get it early.
Get it
Bet
now.
it now.
Get it right now.
But I'm not giving a pick on the game. It's a pass for me, but I do have
It's a pass for me.
It's a play on the total for me later on. We're talking about the whole college schedule this week. I think some of the lines stink. This is
well, they all stink at the end of the year.
Well, you're right, because there's a winner and a loser. But just on paper right now, looking at week 12, there are some bad lines and some lines that don't make sense, and they scream trap. So I'll bring up this game. Utah at Colorado. Now, first of all, I don't get this. It's a noon Eastern time start in Boulder. Which
I love
means
Utah all day long to cover that 10.
It's a 10 a.m. start in Boulder.
I love Utah to cover that 10.
Fox pregame show will be in Boulder.
Yep.
So it'll be a big event out there. Dave, do you have thoughts on this game?
I've got a lot of thoughts on this
too.
game if we have time for it.
Go ahead.
Say what you got to say, Dave.
The battle for the Rockies. The Utes have run that rock for how long, but they just brought it back. There's a lot going on in this. Travis Hunter. Let's just talk about Travis Hunter.
Right.
Travis Hunter is an elite corner.
He's probably a Heisman candidate.
He is top 11 in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns as a wide receiver while playing a cornerback position. He's going to play the whole damn game.
He plays linebacker too.
If he wants
they can
to.
move him around the
Yeah, they
field.
move him up to the line of scrimmage a lot.
He's a hybrid.
Yeah, he's a great football player.
He is.
Neon Dion, the crowd hype behind him at home in Colorado. Utah had to go. They got to go to the bench. They benched Isaac Wilson, and their third stringer got injured, so they got to go back to the backup that they benched.
The kid Brandon Rose is out. The second stringer. Cam Rising's still out, so they go back to the third stringer.
Yeah,
Who's
no,
a true freshman.
Brandon Rose is coming back in.
So, I thought Rose was still out for this game. I thought Wilson was starting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rose is out. Yeah. Wilson is starting, yes.
So now you're on a third-string quarterback on the road.
Now, Utah's defense, 18th passing yards allowed, 19th red zone scoring. Utah's offense, 114th in points per drive, and 112th in success rate.
They have zero passing attack.
The problem for Utah is you're going to give Shador and Hunter so many chances.
They're going to get a lot of opportunities.
They're going to capitalize because for Colorado to go to the Big 12 championship is very simple.
Well, they have a
win and in, and Dion's going to have his boys ready.
Is this a look ahead to next week? Because they go to Kansas next week. Now, not that Kansas is 3-6, but the game's at Arrowhead, and this will be a monster game.
TV game.
It is played at Arrowhead. So are they looking ahead?
You just changed my mind.
I'll take it.
I did a lot of, not the kind of research you do, but I did some research. I'm like, Utah. I'm going Colorado on this.
I'm not going to question Utah's defense.
No, it's
just the ineptitude of offense.
But the problem is
Colorado too much to
Colorado's offense is going to get about 15 to 18 opportunities.
Look, when they get ahead, Utah can't come back from behind.
Still going under.
No, they can't.
We're talking at 11.5 right now. And I will say,
I got here at 10.5.
Oh, it was up to 11.5 this afternoon.
I'm moving. Going Colorado.
You may see this go to 12 or 13.
I'm going Colorado.
Yeah. But here's what I'll say, and I'm huge on Colorado this week, and I'll tell you why. The way BYU lost that game last week Utah lost that game to BYU last week was devastating to that program.
Yeah.
I mean, they had BYU dead to rights, a huge upset in the Holy War. I mean, that's the game of the year for those guys.
There's a Super Bowl for both of them.
And they let BYU come back like they do every week. And they won it. And I think this BYU team is demoralized. If I could be a fly on the wall in that locker
The
room,
Utah team is
I'm sorry.
demoralized.
I keep saying BYU. That Utah team is demoralized to lose that game, and now have to travel on the road to go to Colorado on your third string quarterback where you can't throw the ball, and another team that gets down in distance, and they're screwed. And I'll take the more firepower offense in Colorado to just get out ahead and cruise. This might be an under game too, but I'm laying the house. And I'm big on Colorado this week. I am big on Colorado.
Yes, I was kind of indecisive on this game, but after listening to Dave, I like Colorado.
I just think this Utah team is just flat in a flat spot this week.
Yeah. Let's go to Oregon.
Before we go this far, I will say, don't listen to me. I rarely am correct. I have said this before. I will say this again.
Well, we're on the same side, buddy. So I'm usually correct. So I think you got a winner.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 1 ranked Oregon, traveling to Madison to play the Badgers.
You know, Oregon's a 14-point favorite on the road.
They are.
This is a huge game for Wisconsin.
Can you tell me why?
Yeah, you beat the number 1 team in the nation and the number 1 team in the Big Ten. That's big.
But they still, who they had? They had number 2 Alabama come in there earlier, and they got pole smoke.
I get it. What I'm saying is, later in the year, Oregon has to travel.
Cheers to Jägermeister, by the way.
Let's see what happens. I think Oregon probably covers this, but I like Wisconsin to make this a really, really good football game. They're playing for pride right now. What's Wisconsin? 5-4?
Believe so.
Yeah,
Well, they got to get bowl eligible.
yeah.
They still end with Minnesota. What is that? The Paul Bunyan Axe game, or
They got Minnesota. You know, Wisconsin could cover this.
Could.
They could play hard and really cover this. I don't know.
I agree, could, but
You don't think so?
Tom, if I had my eyesight, I could work in. Okay,
I get it.
but I don't believe it's happening.
You think Oregon's going to run roughshod?
I do. I lean very heavily to Oregon here. This is the same Wisconsin defense that gave up 40 points to Iowa with a hybrid backup linebacker at quarterback.
And Iowa can't score.
42 to Iowa.
I'm just saying.
And they can't score. And Iowa can't
pick on me here.
I got it. You're stealing my
Iowa can't
stuff.
score.
I know you're looking
Iowa
at my
can't
notes.
score worth a shit.
No, this is not a great Wisconsin team.
And I think with so much on the line for Oregon to retain the number 1 ranking, and I do want to get into the rankings 1 through 12 later after the games, but I think this game means too much. I'm on Oregon. I'll lay the 14. I think they go into Madison, and
I'll back you on that.
good.
As we talked, Wisconsin's been outscored 70-23 in the past 2 games versus Penn State and Iowa.
They can't score.
Can't score. Can't stop people from scoring. 42 to Iowa alone. By the way, Oregon's won by 26 points per game since they barely beat Ohio State.
Yeah, they've been rolling.
They're putting 26 points up. Problem with Oregon, number 1 wide receiver Tez Johnson's out. Trayshawn Holden is questionable. Their number 1 running back, Jordan James, is also questionable.
I don't know. They're a team that just seems to just replace and fly.
But this is also their last road game before they go to a bye week and then play their final 2 at home. I'm going to go Oregon just does what they do, covers that 14, me personally. But I could see it's finicky because it's, do we just start resting? Do we start pulling people early and just take a win?
I get what you're saying. You get up 28-7, and then you halfway through the third quarter, you start
I agree. Now, look, the line's 14. I'm not saying they're going to go into Madison and win by 40.
No.
but they do enough to cover the number and get a win. I'm going to say 33-13. Somewhere in that range.
Yes, I got a 28-10.
Okay.
Yeah. Hanging up on them early and then start pulling guys back.
I want to fly through these because I have so much to talk to you guys and pick your brain about with the playoff system. Let's talk Texas, Arkansas. Texas number 3 in the recent playoff football standings. On the road, this line opened at 15. They're at Fayetteville, at Arkansas. Arkansas's quarterback is questionable, but it sounded like from the presser this afternoon the coach was saying he was going to play.
You know
I did happen to catch a little bit out on the radio.
I will say one thing. Arkansas plays hard.
They do, but when they play hard, look like how they played hard against Ole Miss, and they gave up 65-31.
I know.
Is
It's not
Texas,
a talented football.
They play hard, and they have played well in spots. They beat Tennessee. I mean, they stomped
did.
right through Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee's what, only loss?
No, Tennessee's got 2 losses.
They get 2, that's right.
Yeah.
They got 2.
So this line opened at 15. It's at 13.5 right now. You got to play on this game, Tom?
I like Texas. I just like Texas this week. I think they go in, they do their business, they do what they got to do, and they get out of there. I had the line at 16.5. If it's a 13.5, I'm all over Texas. I think that's a
Yeah, let people bet Arkansas if I'm going the other way. I'll take that action all day long.
that's a 34-17, 34-14 football game. Texas wins.
Texas is loaded. They really are.
That's a great football team. It really
And you
is.
saw what they did to Florida last week, and they beat Florida with ease.
Yeah.
Is Arkansas any better, worse? Yeah, they're at home, but
Arkansas is the same team as, they're not any better than Florida.
I don't think so.
No.
The only difference is they're at home. So what did Florida lose last night? 49-17, something
Yeah.
like that?
Like I said, I just said 44 to
Yeah.
44-21, 44-17.
I'm not giving much analysis, guys. I'm just on Texas.
I'm on Texas all day long.
I think it's a cover. I'm not going to waste time. Dave, go ahead, buddy.
Arkansas, Texas. I got them 13.5 when I saw it. Like I said, Quinn Ewers, 333 yards, 5 touchdowns, 70.4% completion last
It was
week.
great last week.
Fantastic. He looks healthy.
Yeah.
Looks good. Texas defense hasn't played an offense. Top 40 EPA per play. Georgia hung 30 on them. That's the closest one that they've played. Arkansas is 15th. They're coming off a bye. I know you said, is he healthy, is he not? That quarterback, Talon Green, he's 6'6", 235
He's a playmaker.
pounds.
There's no doubt about it. But he's had health issues all year long.
Vince Young, but Arkansas likes to play this kind of methodical, and I haven't seen Texas defense actually be able to play with something opportunistic. Not saying Arkansas wins.
So let me ask you, since you're a Michigan fan, is Taylor Green in his size, speed, comparable to an Alex Orji from Michigan? Would you be willing to make that comparison?
No,
As a mobile quarterback, he can run the football.
no, because Talon Green can actually throw the damn ball.
But we know Orji can, but we just saw what Texas did to Orji earlier in the year.
Alex Orji, well, yeah, Alex Orji can clearly run. If that's, there's been no, I haven't seen Alex Orji throw anything, do anything. So I can't make that comparison because it's a different story.
So who are you on?
I'm taking Arkansas to cover, and I think it's going to be a sloppy offensive mess. Because I don't think either. I think Texas's defense is a fraud.
I had Arkansas circle too.
Huh?
I had Arkansas circle too on my sheet.
Okay.
It's funny. I mean,
You
they're
like
right
them
here.
or no? You're going against your pick?
That's a tough one. It's the toughest game.
It's not a play, but I lean heavily to Texas.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
can
just
read
look,
this.
it's a no-brainer for me.
Arkansas's my dog of the week.
All right. Well, you're giving that one away early to the fans, so that's good.
You want to sit here and
Another one of our few ranked matchups of the week, Clemson on the road at Pittsburgh. Number 25, I think, Pitt right now, as they slowly creep out after losing 2 in a row to SMU and Virginia. Clemson on the road, laying 10 at Pitt. Any interest in this game?
I got 9.5. I like Clemson to win. I like Clemson to cover, and that's one of my picks of the week.
Pitt showed some holes lately.
Yeah.
Dave?
Well, not only that, but they don't have the
Okay.
depth they've had. They've had some injuries on the offensive line. They've definitely had some injuries in the defensive backfield,
Well, that's what's killing them.
and that's where the problem
SMU
comes.
shredded them.
Yeah.
I know it was a close game, and they had the lead in the fourth quarter against Virginia last week. Maybe a BS call late, but again, it is what it is. You lost the game. Dave, any thoughts?
multiple thoughts on this game. I'm going to call this my lock of the week. I am taking Clemson over Pittsburgh for these reasons. Clemson, 14th points per game. Pittsburgh, 16th points per game. It's going to get crazy out there. However, Pittsburgh has been dominated in time of possession 3 of its last 4 games. They're 12 of 50 in third down conversions. 3 defense touchdowns against Syracuse is the only thing that kept them close there.
Yeah, but even so, they still cover that game if they don't put that up. But I get what you're saying.
But
It's an overinflated score.
Pittsburgh's offense hasn't scored more than 25 points in 6 weeks since they beat North Carolina.
And the 25 they put up against
Clemson
SMU
is going to run it up.
The 25 they put up against SMU were all in garbage time. They were down 35-3 at one point in that game.
Clemson, Dabo Sweeney,
Clemson's my lock of the week.
right there with you.
Yeah.
All right, so these guys are on Clemson. This is a no play for me as a Panther fan. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to sit in my bar stool and pray. But probably the second half of that game, I'll be crying in my beer. And I don't think it's happening this week for the Panthers, but I'm not going to put money on them. I'm going to sit there, hope, and pray that Clemson just comes out with a total C game and melts down. Now, Clemson has 2 losses in the ACC. Right now, they're on the outside looking in when it comes to the ACC championship.
Oh, for sure.
Because right now, as it sits, even after Miami's bad loss last week,
It's still SMU and Miami right now.
Called
it's
it.
SMU and Miami.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, on paper, I'd take SMU all day, right? If the game was tomorrow, I'd take SMU.
Neutral field, I'm taking SMU against Miami.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. That offense.
And
Not only that, but
I'll go on record right now. We'll get into the college football playoff in a minute. I'll go on record right now. I don't think Miami makes the playoff. I think they're out.
well,
We'll see. It'll be interesting, but
they
I think they have a chance with one of those 5 SEC teams being ranked
but
out
if they
there right
get
now.
beaten in the ACC championship by SMU, they're out.
so I think we covered all of our 5 big games, did we not?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that sticks out to you on the board this week, guys?
No.
Nothing off the top of my head. Tulane at Navy. Tulane at Navy was the one
That's
I
an
was
interesting
looking
game.
at.
Tulane at Navy. Here's
Tulane
one.
all day long on that.
Yeah, I lean with you on that.
They're laying 7 to Navy, and
I love Tulane on that.
Tulane technically is still alive for that group of 5 berth to the playoffs.
Possibly, yes.
One that really stinks to me, and I know you guys didn't do research on it, but whatnot. Why is BYU, that's undefeated, with a Kansas team coming on the road, and only laying 3? This
I was
is
going
a
to say that. I
3
saw
and
3.5.
6,
Yeah.
3 and 6 Kansas team against an undefeated BYU team in Provo, and the line is only 3.
Yeah, that's an odd one to me. I saw it. Is there any major injuries to BYU or?
No, but BYU can't stop the running. What does Kansas do best? They run the rock.
They do run the rock.
I
but
mean, Kansas defense is awful. It's god awful. But is it worth taking a flyer on Kansas here plus the points?
No. I don't think.
And the other one I ask if you have anything interest in, maybe the most overinflated team in the country might be Missouri at 7-2. And they're on the road at South Carolina, who all
South
of a
Carolina
sudden
right now is playing great football.
maybe one of the top 5 defenses in the country.
That team, man, Beamer's done a hell of a job there.
And the line, yeah, Shane Beamer's done a great job.
Whoa.
The line is 13, but you've got 7-2 Missouri going on the road to now 6-3 South Carolina. Yeah, that's a 13-point spread.
Gave Alabama fits. South
I
Carolina's
I'd
getting
have to
plenty
give
of
a
people
hard look
fits.
to Southern California. All right,
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I like South Carolina all day in that game. It's in South Carolina.
And once again,
So you're telling me you like Cox?
Missouri's. Only you would pull that one up. Yes.
Only at noon on Saturday.
And I
That wear
believe,
red.
Now we know the schedule.
That wear red.
Brady Cook, the quarterback for Missouri's out again this week. So it makes me want to play South Carolina even more. But we'll get into those picks in a little bit. Guys, as we get into the NFL and well, before we get into that, let's talk the playoffs. What are your thoughts about the rankings?
They don't mean a damn thing right now.
They don't because, but I mean, our teams, is Indiana really number 5?
We'll find out next week.
But as it sits right now, do you believe they're number 5?
I don't know.
Do they suffer a loss and drop to 11 and stay in it?
No, if they get blown out by Ohio State, they're out.
I say if they lose by 2 or 3 touchdowns, they're out.
Yeah, they're out. Let's face it, Indiana's never been a prolific football program. So if they were a prolific program and got beat by 14, they'd still be in. It's the boys' club. But the fact that they're not in the boys' club, if Ohio State beats them 41-10, they're out.
They're out. They're out. They got no chance.
Yeah,
they
they
can
got
go
no
sit with
chance.
Miami, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Dave, any thoughts on the playoff rankings so far?
I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, Georgia's 12. Ole Miss is 11, both 2-loss teams. You're bouncing out SMU and Boise State at 8-1, Washington State at 8-1.
Well, Boise State's not in the top 12.
I know, but I'm looking at the top 12.
So here's my question. As it sits right now, let's say it were to end tomorrow.
Alabama's at 10, 7-2.
Alabama's a good football team.
I'm not
Georgia.
going to argue, but I'm still always going to play the SEC bias game. I know we're in this
But Georgia,
wraparound.
as it sits right now with 12, would be out.
They actually would not get in.
Because Boise, as the Group of 5 championship,
Would
and
take
not ranked in there, would knock them out at 12, and Boise would get the
basically,
12th seed.
if it started tomorrow, Ohio State wouldn't be 2, they'd be 5.
And that's not right. But I mean, I know we
Only
still got
because
championship
Oregon would
games.
be the,
Correct.
if we started tomorrow, Oregon would be the Big Ten champs. SMU would be ACC.
Yeah.
SEC, I'm not sure who would be.
We don't know the hell's
Probably
going to win the
Alabama.
SEC. There's too many
I mean,
people.
I don't even know. And then the Big 12 would probably be, BYU?
Right now, it's looking well. Iowa State's done; they've lost it, but somehow Colorado's still alive.
I'm saying today, if we started the
Today it
playoffs
would be
today.
BYU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I look at that stuff and I go based on today, it means nothing to me. Because so much is going to change.
And I
over
agree.
the
We got
next-
another 4 weeks to go.
And I don't
Penn
think
State's
give
at 4.
Yeah, from
Penn
now
State's
to,
at 4. Ohio State's at 2. You got 3 Big Ten teams in the top 4
Top 5.
right now.
yeah, I mean,
You
it's crazy.
got 4 in the top 5.
Yeah,
Dave, you're
I'm
looking at it right now. Texas sits what, 3?
I have Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana.
Yeah,
Okay, so
4
you're
Big
3.
Ten teams are.
that's all going to be broken
Here's
apart.
here's what it is.
Because what's going to happen, Dave, is they got to take the conference champions. So we know those teams
But I'm
are
just,
going to filter
looking
down.
at the rankings.
But here's
I'm
what
like, the
sucks
rankings
about
are
this whole
screwed.
playoff.
Well, what I would like them to
system.
do when they do the rankings, and tell me if I'm nuts, is say
Oh,
based on
He does love
conference
Cox on
champions,
Saturday.
based on they should base
Noon.
the rankings on who's ahead of the conference right now.
yeah.
So Oregon would be 1, let's say SMU would be 2. Let's say, so and so would be 3, so and so would be 4, and Ohio State's 5. Because Indiana right now might be 4 because as of right now they could be the Big Ten champ.
All right.
But when they do these weekly rankings, they should put the consideration of who the conference leader is as of right now to give us a real view of what could happen going forward.
So here's
build
my
it
question.
like you do the NFL, where these are your conference leaders, these are your slots.
If you look
exactly,
at
Dave.
Texas sitting at 3, Penn State at 4, and Indiana at 5. Between the 3 of them, they have beaten nobody that's been in that playoff realm all year long. All of their strength of schedules are garbage. Ungats. Trash. So if they suffer another loss, are they out?
Most likely. I mean, you look at Alabama's strength of schedule, outstanding.
Oh, yeah. Anybody in the SEC is
Ole Miss, outstanding.
Yeah.
Georgia, outstanding. The Georgia-Tennessee game to me this week is the game of the week.
It's another elimination game.
It's the game of the week.
It's another
I don't care
elimination.
what anybody says.
But if Texas goes 11-2 and loses in the SEC championship, are they out?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Of course they're out. I mean, how many 3-loss teams are we going to put in?
No, they would be
Who do they
11-2.
lose to? Who do they lose to?
They lost to Georgia at home,
Yeah.
and then they would lose in the SEC championship.
Which could either be...
It could be Georgia, it could be Bama, it could be Ole Miss, whatever.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Could be Ole Miss.
No, Ole Miss is in the West.
I'm talking about for the SEC champion.
I know, but SEC is in the old
That's right.
the West.
Either one of them would. Only one of the two is going to get in.
I just think it's interesting to say, hey, does Texas at 11-2 get eliminated? I mean, I don't see that happening.
I don't, but
we're a few weeks
they
away from
have the
getting this hammered
easiest
down.
of the SEC
But
schedule.
I have issues with this ranking system already, just personally.
Well, I think they should put the conferences on the first 4 and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so before we get into the NFL, guys, as always, we're at the Seabreeze Lounge, Palm Harbor, Florida. We record here live every Wednesday. We know you guys are watching out there. Make sure you go in the comment section, go throw some comments in. We'll answer them live on the air. Hit the share and the like and the subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. We know we've had some progress since last week. We already got some more subscribers. We had commenters last week. So, hey, throw some comments in there. We'll answer it live on air for you because God knows we got opinions. But thanks to Seabreeze Lounge for having us up here. Let's get to the NFL, guys. Some interesting games this week. Is this a movement Sunday in the NFL? We got to start with the game of the week, and that's what I would say, Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
You would.
Wait a second. I know I'm a Steelers
I'm a
fan.
Steelers fan, so the game of the week is the Steelers. The thing that matters the most.
I think
to
the game of the
everybody.
week is Washington and Philly, myself.
There it is,
Well,
right
if
there.
you would rather, we can start with that. Just to appease me being a non-owner. Washington at Philly.
I like
it's
Philly
a
to cover.
Thursday night game.
I like Philly to cover the 3.5. I think they make a statement this week.
I think they made a statement the past couple weeks.
Washington, go home. We're still the best team in this division, and this is the game they have to win to basically say they're the best team in the division. So
They stopped the mud hole on the Cowboys last week.
I like Philly covering the 3.5 this week.
Dave?
At home Thursday night game, I hate gambling any divisional game. Absolutely hate it. I will agree with you. It's a huge statement for either side.
Right.
Where it goes from there, having looked at both schedules down the road, I don't think a loss from either one of them counts them out in the end. But
Yeah.
Philly needs this more than Washington does because we didn't expect Washington to be what they are right now.
Right.
And Washington would fall to 7-3.
Washington is currently 7-3. They would go to 7-4. Yeah, they haven't had their
like
bye
I said,
yet.
I like Philly to come in, or not come in, stay at home, protect their division lead, and come out of this thing
I think the Eagles are on a roll right now. They're making it. Are they peaking too early? We don't know, but they are peaking right now, and they found their stride.
Well, they're healthy. They started off the year a little banged up.
And they have Saquon.
Last week against the Steelers.
The thing they didn't have last year was Saquon. The thing they have this year is Saquon.
He's a big difference, man.
He's a difference maker.
The difference for them this year.
I still don't know what to think of Jalen Hurts. I really don't. But it's probably one of the better Thursday night games. Although we did have a good one last week with the Bengals and Ravens.
That was a great game.
Very good game. But I would lean towards the Birds. The only thing that scares me in this game, if you look at the last 4 years, when the Skins were basically trash, they would go into Philadelphia. One year they beat them outright on a Monday night.
You talking about going into Baltimore, you mean?
No. Washington going into Philly.
Okay, yeah.
Not last year. I think the year before they went into Philly outright on a Monday and beat them. Broke their winning streak to start the year. I think they started like 10-0 or 9-0 when they beat them.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, they go into Philly. They play tough. Philly got an overtime win, But I really think there's a talent difference. But Philly's never really faced Jane Daniels. So
Jane Daniels, Dan Quinn, and the new look Washington Commanders are a problem. That's why I'm out on this.
I think it's maybe an over.
We're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, I'm taking Philly at home.
Okay.
I'm not touching it because
I don't think I'm gonna bet the game.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from single night games where all the action's focused on one game, and I try to stay away from that. But sometimes the degenerate in me comes out, and I bet the game anyways. So now let's go to Steelers at Ravens. The line has stayed on 3. It has not moved. There's not enough action coming in either way to move it to 2.5 or 3.5. 1 o'clock game in Baltimore. Dave, who do you like?
in Baltimore with the Steelers, with Mike Tomlin doing what Mike Tomlin does, with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry running that rock the way they run that rock. It's not a play for me. Gun to my head. We're in Baltimore. I'm still going to put this Pittsburgh covers, doesn't win. This is going to be a 24-22 something. Just it's going to get ugly. Depends which Russell you get.
Well, Russell Wilson's been an unbelievable find.
Yeah.
The first 3 games, he's played out of his mind. Way better than he ever did in Denver or his last year in Seattle. I mean, I think he's been that damn good. Way better than what's his face from the Bears that they got. Who am I forgetting?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, thank you. But having said that, this is a blood rivalry. And I think they're on some kind of trend like now where like 12 of the last 13 have been decided by 1 score or less, with like 6 out of 7 being less than a field goal. So it's hard to pass up the Steelers and the 3. I'm not going to have a play on the game.
Baltimore beats the hell out of them.
That's what I'm scared of.
Statement time.
I really am. I'm scared of that.
Baltimore beats the hell out of them.
Lamar comes out and just goes nuts.
It's a 31-14 beat down. The small bubble that Steelers had gets first. They're still going to be fine. Baltimore smokes them.
That would give the Browns, the Ravens a 1-game lead in the division.
Yep.
And now Steelers are back struggling for a 5 seed.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That's what's going to happen, guys.
Any thoughts on? There's another one that would qualify for Game of the Week, and that would be the Chiefs at the Bills.
Bills are a 3.5-point favorite. I'm not touching that.
Right now it's sitting at 2.5. I think.
Yeah, I saw it at 3.5 earlier today.
The Chiefs got a little money beat down today, so.
I'm not touching
But if the Chiefs are on the road, and you're 9-0 going to Buffalo, who I believe is 7-2.
You put a good amount. I'm taking Buffalo, but I'm not touching.
But that's not a game to bet. And I'm the same way. I've gone to my head.
No, I love my two more picks. I mean,
Well,
I like
let's get
Philly.
into that. Let's hold on to that. We'll wait. We got to get the tease.
What do you
to
think
that
of
for
the
the
Chiefs?
viewers.
I'm going Russian roulette. It's about time for them boys in 72 Miami to pop some champagne. Gun to my head, I'll play Russian roulette. I'll take Buffalo and the Bills Mafia.
That's kind of like me.
Let's
I
go.
like Buffalo
It's about
this
that
week.
time. Because if Kansas City goes to Buffalo and shows their cards, and they so happen to meet again in the playoffs, Kansas City's going to go in. They're not limping. Pacheco's been cleared to practice. We've got this, we've got that. But I think it's Kansas City's luck runs out
I
Like I
tend
said,
to
a
agree.
little bit.
Like I said, if I had to bet
it's
this
not
game,
a
I'm betting
blowout,
Buffalo.
but at 2 points, field goal wins the game.
Right.
I'll take Buffalo given 2. If I call it a
If I
day.
had to bet the game, I'd take Buffalo.
And I think this winds up kicking off at a 3. But Vegas doesn't want any part of this. They want this to go off at 3. Be a field goal game. They can middle it, make some juice
Right.
here, make some juice there. I would lean Bills. I mean, why Vegas ain't stupid. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So why open it up as Buffalo laying points when the Chiefs are 9-0? But that's fine. So let's get into our official picks of the week. We're on the NFL. Dave, start with your NFL pick.
I already talked about Buffalo.
Yep.
Taking Buffalo. Taking the under. Over/under I saw listed was 45.5.
Correct.
Let's go under. Don't know why. I just feel like going under today. Houston, after what Detroit was
Demoralizing
able
loss.
to do to them, going to Dallas,
Monday night.
given 7.5 points. Jerry World's a mess. Dallas is a mess. Are you getting Trey Lance? Are you getting Cooper Rush? Does it even matter?
No, they all
Is
care.
Mike McCarthy fired at halftime?
cares?
Houston's gonna smoke Dallas.
Cooper
in
Rush,
Dallas.
Cooper Rush threw 23 passes last week for 23 attempts for 45 yards. That's not even 2 yards an attempt.
I was about to
That's
ask.
god
What
awful.
did he do?
I'm on the Texans with you.
I'm on
Yep,
the
I like the
Texans.
Texans, but it's not one of my picks.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Jacksonville at Detroit.
Yeah, I'm on this
because also what Houston did to Detroit. Detroit's given 13.5 to Jacksonville.
A lot of points.
They're hosting.
Lot.
They're hosting them. Huge points in the NFL. I don't know how much you watched, but I kept looking over my shoulder, and it was just reported by Doug Peterson that Trevor Lawrence is out.
He's out.
Yeah, it's Mac Wilson again this week.
Trevor Lawrence is out. Mac Wilson is going to go against that hungry Detroit defense. Dan Campbell he has spoken these boys into what they currently are, and until something stops it, and I don't know, not just being a homer, I don't know what can. Detroit might hang 100 on Jacksonville.
That could be
So
easily like
14 points.
one of those 37 to
doesn't
10
matter.
football games.
You're right.
It could easily be
Yeah,
one of those
at
games.
the half.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to go this week. I'm on Houston. I'm on the Dolphins. I'll lay the 7.5 to the Raiders. I think that's an easy win and cover. And I believe the Vikings are at Tennessee this week. Give me the Vikings on the road.
Yeah, I got the
I'll take it.
I got the Vikings all day. I've got the 49ers at home.
I looked at this. I like the Niners too.
I like the 6.5 against Seattle. And like I said, I like Philly to cover the 3.5.
Okay.
What do you got on that Tennessee Vikings game?
I got Minnesota.
I got Minnesota.
You got Minnesota. What's Minnesota giving them?
6.5.
Yeah. I'll lay the points.
I'm laying the points all day on that.
Tennessee's not a good football team.
Their defense has been terrible.
Not a good football team. I guess it is Mason Rudolph. You know about that.
Guys, I think that's all we got. It's been a good show. You got a lot of good information. Give you a lot in college, a lot in pro. Again, it's the Florida Gambling Boys. It's Super Dave Kreitz. It's Midwest Tommy Tice. The magnificent one, Sean Mayall. Guys, hit the questions. We can answer them after the show, whatnot. Comment, like, subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Cash those tickets, baby. Don't trash them. We're giving you lots of winners here, so come on.
Cash them, don't trash.
Go make some money. We love you. We'll see you next week on the Florida Gambling Boys channel on YouTube.
Smoochy Boochies.
All right. I rushed that ending.
Because you
I
got
gotta take a fucking leak.